Hello everyone, I am Dr. Sajani, Assistant Professor in Department of Zoology, Nirmala College for Women, Coimbatore. Today in this particular video, we are going to discuss on toxicology and its classification.
Now briefly we'll discuss about toxicology under three side headings. The first one definition, the second one disciplines of toxicology, and the third one classification and of their toxicants. Now first going on to the definition of toxicology. The toxicology is a field of science that helps us to understand the harmful effects of chemical, physical, biological agents on people, animal and the environment. Toxicology is derived from the Greek word toxikos, meaning poisonous, and the father of toxicology is Paracelsus. Now coming on to the discipline of toxicology, there are various disciplines of toxicology. So we'll see the disciplines one by one. So the first discipline of toxicology is environmental toxicology. So this is the study of causes, condition and effect of such chemicals on the living organ system in the biosphere. The next one is forensic toxicology. So under this forensic toxicology, it is nothing but the detection of causes of mortality due to any toxicant or poisonous substances and examined through various medical conditions. Then the third one is economic toxicology. So economic toxicology is nothing but the study of harmful effects of chemicals that are intentionally administered to biological tissues for the purpose of getting certain special effects. Then, fourth one is clinical toxicology. So, it deals with diagnosis and treatment of effects of harmful diseases caused by toxic substances of exogenous origin, that is, xenobiotics, which includes accidental and intentional abuse of chemical substances. Next one is mechanistic toxicology. So it is the branch of toxicology which is associated with the elucidation of mechanism by which xenobiotics exert their deleterious effect on living beings. The next one is biochemical toxicology. It is the branch of toxicology which deals with the study of changes at the cellular and subcellular level as a result of toxic action of chemicals, and which is designated as biochemical toxicology. Next one is regulatory toxicology. It is the branch of toxicology which deals with the imposition of certain restrictions of entry of chemicals in the environment with the help of certain laws. The next one is industrial toxicology, so which deals with the study of nature and types of chemical substances emitted by the industries in ambient air and water, and possible effects of such contaminants on the living biota, including human beings. Next one is genetic toxicology. It deals with the study of deleterious effects of xenobiotics on chromosomes and more specifically upon the genetic constituents of individuals. Next one is preventive toxicology. So it deals with the branch of science or toxicology with the evaluation and recommendation of suitable measures for the protection of environment and its living resources. Next one is behavioral toxicology. It chiefly concerned with the study of alterations in the behavior of organisms following exposure to specific toxicants. Next we see about systemic toxicology. It is the branch that deals with adverse effects of chemicals on a particular system of organisms like respiratory system, immune system, nervous system, cardiovascular system, etc. Next one is comparative toxicology. It is the branch which deals with the study of relative toxicity of xenobiotics to various organisms. The next one is toxinology. Here it is the study of poisonous produced by the microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, viruses, etc. Next one is wildlife toxicology. So wildlife toxicology is the study of the effects of toxicants of any origin on wildlife in exactly the same way as the veterinary toxicology is related to domestic animals. And finally, geographical toxicology. So it is the recent area concerned with certain toxic drug reaction seems to be more frequent in a particular country or in a particular continent. Now next we'll see the toxicants and their classification. So first we'll see the definition, and under that we'll see what are the classification, how toxicants are classified. So toxicants in air, toxicants in water, and toxicants contaminating food. So these are the three classifications of toxicants. First we'll see what is toxicant. Definition for toxicant. So toxicant, it is a toxicant may be defined as an agent that causes an adverse effect or response in biological system which seriously damages the structure and function of a human body or an animal, and later finally which leads to lethality. And now we'll see the various toxicants, classification of toxicants. That is, first one is toxicant in air. So we know that there are certain particulate matters in air which are the particular matters which are the harmful chemical substances like arsenic, asbestos, benzene, cadmium, chromates, ethylene, dibromide, ethylene oxide, lead, mercury, ozone, etc. are certain agents for toxicants in air. And next, toxicants in water. So as we know, a large number of toxicants intentionally or otherwise otherwise it reaches the aquatic environment through various sources. One either through sewage or other waste domestic nature, agriculture through discharges through agriculture, then industrial effluents, and through wastewater from thermal and nuclear power plants. Next, toxicants contaminating food. So we know that nowadays many food items, many foods which are produced or which we get is contaminated very higher. So this contamination is either for the production to earn more profit for the industries. So either this contamination can be done during production, processing, or storage and packing. So the food additives may be of two types, namely intentional additives and sometimes it may be incidental additives. So intentional additives like examples for that is sodium benzoate, ascorbic acid, lecithin, etc. will be added. And so this incidental additives are mixed with the food during process or packing process. Now apart from these, there are also some other toxicants in environment, that is noise and radiation pollution. These are also toxicants. So as we know that noise is an environmental pollution, but it differs from air and water pollutants, and this noise disappears very fast and thus do not remain in the environment for a long time. So that is why it is entirely different from air and water pollutants, and this produces adverse effect in human beings. That is, hearing of noise regularly causes adverse effect to human beings. Sound is usually measured either by sound pressure or sound intensity. So there are two important parameters for describing sound. So the other two, the sound which produces, the two parameters of sound pollution is sound wave frequency and sound wave amplitude or magnitude. Next, we'll see about the classification of toxicants. So under this classification of toxicants, there are few side headings. That is, the first one is environmental carcinogens. That is under classification of toxicant on basis of organ or system affected. We learn under certain side headings. The first one is environmental carcinogens. So environmentally derived chemicals that enter into the body through food, drink causes cancer. So this is either intentionally taken inside into your body, into our body, or unknowingly we might take it inside. So thus it happens to be carcinogenic. Then the second one is cardiotoxicants. It is nothing but the tissues of the heart becomes weaker and is not as efficient in pumping, and therefore circulating blood will be restricted or will be very feeble. Hence it causes certain diseases, certain symptoms or certain diseases like stroke or cardiac arrest, etc., etc. Then the third one is immunotoxicants. So immunotoxicants are nothing but when there is an adverse effect of foreign substances which enter into the immune system, it causes immune toxication, or your immunity becomes toxicated or poisoned. The next one is occupationally inhaled toxicants. So it is nothing but whenever in industries certain chemicals are sent out through fumes or through vapor or etc. So when the people of that industry happens to inhale that is known as occupationally inhaled toxicants. It is also known as that is inhalation of certain hazardous chemicals from workplace. Next one is teratogens. So teratogens are nothing but chemical agents causing teratogenesis are called teratogens, and they show certain congenital defects in living organisms. Next one is hepatotoxicants. So hepatotoxicant, hepato refers to liver. So some of the hepatic liver muscles get injuries and later they produce hepatotoxicants like CCl4. That is the chemical which causes harmful effect to the liver cells are CCl4, chloroform, ethanol, bromobenzene, etc., etc. Next is mutagenic agents. So mutagenic agents are nothing but which causes as a result of interaction between mutagenic agents like arsenic, cadmium, mercury, nickel, lead, platinum, etc. and the genetic material of DNA of an organism is highly deteriorated. Next one is toxicity. So under toxicity we learn 4 side headings. Under that, first we'll see definition, then we'll see principal aspects of toxicology, then categories of toxic effects and scope and importance of toxicology. So first we'll see the definition for toxicity. So toxicity may be defined as the capability to cause injury in a living organism and causes high toxic substances which causes damage to an organism if administered in a very small amount. So even if it is a medicine, it should not be consumed more than the value or more than the amount it has to be consumed. So if it is consumed in more level, more amount, that leads to toxicity in our body. The next one is principal aspects of toxicology. So there are 3 principal aspects of toxicology. One is toxicometrics, which is the study of measurement of poison. Second one is toxicodynamics, which deals with the biochemical and physiological effects of xenobiotics and mechanism of their action. And finally, toxicokinetics, which deals with the absorption, distribution, biotransformation and excretion of xenobiotics. The next one is categories of toxic effects. So under categories, they are grouped into local and systemic effects, reversible and irreversible effects, immediate and delayed effect, morphological effect, functional effect and biochemical effect. Finally, we'll see the scope and importance of toxicology. So toxicology incorporates a very broad scope. It is primarily concerned with the identification of deleterious effects and secondly with the treatment of the agents for detoxification, that is removal of toxins. So toxicology deals with the toxicity studies of chemicals used.
Okay. Through this video, today we have discussed on the different definitions given by different scientific authors as well as the classifications of toxicology. Thank you.